A very good morning. That music means that you are watching A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. Welcome. My name is Greg Schwem. I am the host and the creator of A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. That is a streaming TV series. You can find it right now on Roku. All you have to do is just go and search the Fantastic Entertainment app. So you can go to fantastic-entertainment.com. And if you are on that website, you can also see where else you can find the series. And if you go to that website, you can also watch free trailers and you can download episodes of all the places that I have been. And we have been to some great places. This is a show where I explore the booming home sharing market. And when I say home sharing, that of course I mean like Airbnb, Vrbo, all the people who rent out their homes to strangers, in this case, a comedian. So what I do is I go around the country, I find interesting home share properties to crash. I do that typically while I'm on the road doing stand-up comedy gigs. And then we also explore the area around where the pad is. So I have done over 40 different episodes of all different lengths. And that's, of course, again, go to fantastic-entertainment.com. You can see more about the series and where to find it. We actually just got back. We are putting the finishing touches on our latest episode, which was weird right from the start. In fact, I want to show you a clip of what we encountered when we visited Savannah, Georgia. So check this out.
It's quaint, it's historic, and it's been called the hostess city of the South. But even the most gracious hosts have their limits.
We're from Florida. They're from Florida.
But we're in Georgia. We wear masks. I want to see masks.
You wear them outside?
Yes. Wait up.
Let's get a picture with them.
All right, we can do that.
We're on the floor.
Put the mask
on. Mask on. Gainesville. With them without.
I can take that. All right. I mean, we want y'all to be safe. We don't want the birthday babe to be the super spreader babe.
So, a word of warning. If you crash Savannah, Georgia in the midst of its raucous St. Patrick's Day celebration, you might get a reprimand from a top city official. But you'll also get to experience a one-of-a-kind destination that is alive and well.
What do you attribute that? It's what we call Savannah Strong. It's a Savannah spirit. It's recognizing that we're going to keep the faith, that we're going to get through this. We don't know how we'll win, but we're going to get through it.
There you go. And by the way, that was the mayor of Savannah, Georgia, Mayor Van Johnson. He was just one of the people that we interviewed for that episode. And if you want to see more, the best way to do that is to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, or also follow me on the Facebook page of A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. And by the way, if you're watching on either of those channels, either Facebook or YouTube, you can ask questions of my guest. If you are watching on LinkedIn, unfortunately, you cannot ask any questions. So if you have a question for my guest, who I'm going to introduce very shortly, then you need to navigate over to either facebook.com/A Comedian Crashes Your Pad or youtube.com/A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. Now, one of the reasons that I launched this talk show is because when we're in the midst of the pandemic, sometimes you can't get out and travel as much. I've been fortunate that I have been able to travel and continue shooting episodes, but obviously not as much as I'd like, because we have to abide by social distancing rules and keep people like Mayor Johnson happy. So I started this because it allows me to reach out to people all over the country and really all over the world who have a stake in the home sharing business. Either they have an interesting pad, either they were a former host. I've interviewed several of them, or in the case of my guest, they will help fix up your place, whether it's your place, whether it's a place that you want to rent, or you're interested in being a home share host. Maybe you look around your place and say, I got issues here, so I'm going to need some help. And my guest is someone who can do that. So I want to bring him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello all the way from deep in the heart of Texas to Alex Guthrie, the host of Remodel Revolution Radio. Alex, how are you?
Remodel Revolution.
How am I supposed to say that over and over? I know it's Remodel Rev, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's your website right there. If people want to check it out, that rolls off the tongue a little more than Remodel Revolution Radio. Now,
Well, Remodel Revolution Radio is now Remodel Revolution, and not your fault. It still shows up as Remodel Revolution Radio because the technician in charge hasn't figured out how to fix that yet.
There you go. We're all pretty much just flying blind on these live streams and podcasts.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And Alex, you're looking great since last week when we spoke. Full disclosure to everybody here. So last week I was a guest on Alex's talk show, and we laughed a little bit about the show, A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. That's what you have to do, right, in this age. If you're a guest on somebody's talk show or podcast, then you have to turn around and let them be a guest on yours, right?
Absolutely. It's like following somebody, it's like, okay, now you have to follow me.
And of course, since everybody has a podcast, I could have my 84-year-old mom on this show, and she'd say, "Okay, but you have to be on my podcast." And I'd say, "I didn't know you had one." She goes, "Yeah, I just launched one last week."
Yeah, watch your language, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a whole different type of a podcast. So, tell me a little bit about Alex. You are one of these home repair gurus, which means I'm automatically sick with envy about you, because I am horrible at this kind of stuff. And I just so admire people who can walk into a house and just say, I know how to fix everything there. And it seems like when you meet people like that, they don't just have one specialty. They can do pretty much everything. And, all I have to do is meet somebody like that, and I'll say, you're hired. You don't even have to give me references or anything. If you just tell me I know how to fix stuff, I go, come over to my house. What do I owe you? So give me a little bit of your background.
Well, I was born and raised here in.
We don't go that far back. Yeah.
I was a baby. No. You don't want to go that far back.
No,
when I was a baby, we had cloth diapers. That's okay. Never mind. Actually, I've been in remodeling for about 40. I spent my whole life remodeling. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I was thinking about this earlier. In high school, when you're sitting there with all your classmates and everybody's going, what are you going to do when, and one of them's like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to take over my dad's business. And I said, I'm going to be a home builder. And they all looked at me like I was insane. Uh-huh. But I had this passion that far back in my youth because I grew up in a neighborhood that had big, beautiful homes. And I got to it basically because I was the poor kid in the neighborhood. I was mowing their yards, raking their leaves, throwing their newspaper, and doing honeydews around the house for them because the husbands like you couldn't do it. And so I ended up falling in love with that. To me, it was a very natural thing to do. And so then around 2000, I got coaxed into blackmailed into doing a radio show just as a guest, and it took. And so I was on another radio show, House Talk, until about 15 years, right. And as a co-host. And then I decided about 2-3 years ago to go into digital media because I didn't see a future in radio. And that's how I'm here. And I started a new show called Remodel Revolution. And it's a talk show. And I interview, like you, people all over the world. It's fascinating. It's fun. And everybody's got a laptop, or you don't even have to have a laptop. You can do it on your cell phone.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's just an amazing technology to have.
Yeah. And I mean, you're combining the new technology with just old skills that you've learned growing up.
Yeah.
And so forth. I mean, when it comes down to to repairing or rebuilding a house, you really don't rely much on technology. Eventually, you got to do it the same way that people have been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years, right?
We haven't changed. We're building caves out of wood. That's what we're doing. We're building caves out of wood and trying to make them caves that are not made out of dirt.
There you go. Exactly. Okay, good. When people find out that's what you do, does anybody have like a single question, like, just like a most common question? What would that be?
The most common question that I get from people is, how long will it take and how much does it cost? And can you do it without dust?
That's 3 questions, but okay.
I don't know, and no.
Yeah. And are you finding that you're getting a lot of, I mean, I alluded to this earlier, and there's so many places that I've crashed in doing episodes of people who just, I think they thought about doing this on a whim. It's like, hey, we've got this vacant property, or we have this spare bedroom all of a sudden, or our basement would maybe make a good second income stream. And I think they think about that, but then they don't realize we have to make this place look proper and spruce it up a little bit. I mean, are people like that coming to you?
A lot of that is something that you have to do yourself. It depends. If you want to make a career out of it, of like flipping houses, and you want to become a landlord, or in the case of too many people, a slumlord, however you want to do that.
Yeah.
It is to make a living at it. You almost have to do it yourself.
Right.
The margins are tight, and they can be lost very easily. One mistake and bye profit.
Right.
And so a lot of people have been for many years flipping houses and investing in properties, and it's a great thing. It really is. But a lot of times I'm going in and having to look at what they've done, and I go, you need to watch more HGTV.
It's kind of like, I remember the same thing. I remember when my wife and I went out to Napa a couple of years ago, and you would see these, we were on a tour with one guy, if you go on a tour with a private tour guide, they'll tell you all the dirt, about anything. So
the real story.
Exactly. Yeah. And they kept pointing to these vineyards and these wineries. And the backstory was this guy made a fortune in telecom or something, thought, hey, I'll open a winery. But he had no idea how to grow grapes or bottle wine. He just thought, it'd be fun to just be able to walk outside and drink wine all day. Right. And I got to believe in the home repair business, kind of the same thing, maybe, right?
Well, in Texas, you can be a street sweeper on Monday and a contractor on Tuesday. That's all it takes. All you have to do is say, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And you are now officially a contractor. And so it's the wild, wild west of building around here. However, we've got a great group of builders that care a lot about doing quality. And of course, now codes have tightened up, cities have tightened up. And so it's not as easy as it used to be. You have to have some sort of skill set. But one of the things that we've noticed over the last 25 years, there's a lot more people that are getting into probably all types of business, but definitely in the building business, that are sort of more managers. They're not I came up in a time when I started sweeping floors, and I worked myself up to a point to where I felt comfortable actually running a business. Yeah. But that's not the case now. These guys are coming out of college with a degree, and they're saying, I'll be a builder. and that's, the experience factor isn't there. And it shows.
It's like people who come out of college and say, I'll be an entrepreneur, or I majored in being an entrepreneur in college. No, you can't just start as an entrepreneur. That's like majoring in CEO, you can't really do that.
How come I'm not making $70,000 a year? I mean, I just graduated from college.
I know, it's been 2 days.
Literally, people do that.
I know they do. So you're right, but you got to get down and get your hands dirty and so forth, so let's get right into that. So as I said, anybody who's watching who has a home repair question, now's your chance. The advice is free, right? You're not going to send a bill. You're not going to send like an online bill to anybody, are you?
Can I?
We could talk about that, yeah. But, obviously I have some home repair projects around my house. By the way, that's my house right there, Alex. So let's just
good. Hey, I know a good painter. I know a really good painter.
Yeah, so I'm having some issues. I want to put a moat on the front door and a drawbridge, and I don't know if you have any experience with that. So, no, really.
Do you know where the front door is the question.
Let me show you something that's bugging me right now, and maybe you can tell me how I can go about fixing this. So I'm going to show you a little bit of my back patio, specifically the ground. Okay, so that was just me out this morning walking, and you can see all the crap. There's like you saw the weeds and the moss coming through there, and there's like no grout left now. So question, how do I do this cheaply?
Uh-huh.
We all want to do that. And what do I need to make sure that the weeds don't come back, because it is getting to be outdoor barbecue and beer drinking season here in Chicago.
Weed tweezers.
Weed.
I mean, you get a kegger.
Okay.
And you bring everybody over, and you
do that.
And you give everybody some weed tweezers, and they sit down. If they've had enough to drink, it's not hard to get them down, and they start plucking the weeds out between the bricks. It's everybody does it around here. What's wrong?
I know, really. Silly me, huh? Yeah.
Or better yet, do stamped concrete. Just get rid of that stuff and do stamped concrete, and all you got to do is hose it off every now and then.
Right. Well, I heard my next door neighbor, who's one of these guys, he built his own house, by the way, and I hate him as a result, because I just watched him sitting there doing it. But he's a good guy. And I let him, I actually, this is a little tip here. If you ever have somebody next to you building a house, you let them have access to something like your electricity or something, because then they're indebted to you forever. I will hold this over his head. So I haven't played that card yet, and he's been in for a year, but I finally said to him, I said, did you know anything about this? So the first thing he said was a power washer. And I don't know if that's along the lines of what you're going to tell me, but why don't you tell me what I got to do to get
power washer's great. I mean, if you're just trying to clean it up, but the problem is that that's an ongoing maintenance thing.
Right.
So what I always tell everybody is live with the patina. I mean, the patina is what makes it wonderful. And when you have that stone pattern that you have in there, it's sort of a old English looking, pattern, and that stone is supposed to be old. The patina is fantastic. So it gets a little green and mossy, and you slip on it a little bit every now and then. Big deal. And I mean, you don't have to worry about hitting your head on it, right? So that power washing is great if you want to keep it clean. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get moldy again or mossy again. Now, one of the things that we do around here sometimes is when you power wash it, it'll knock all the dirt out from in between the little stones. So you'll have a little grout joint in there. You can take a little bit of, now you have to do it when it's all dry.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a little bit of Portland cement or just regular cement that doesn't have gravel in it, and you can dust it on there to fill those little cracks.
Uh-huh.
And it actually makes a grout. That's really kind of what grout is.
It's called Portland cement?
Portland is like the pure form of cement before it's mixed up with gravel and all that. It's the part that makes it hard.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be super, super careful, because once that's on there and it's wet, it won't come off. So if it's on your stone and it hasn't gotten washed off, it could not be good.
Okay.
The other thing is to just get sand. A lot of people will just clean it out and then they'll just take sand. And that would probably be my advice to you. Just take the sand and sweep the sand into those little crevices and kind of lightly water it until it kind of packs down. So you may have to do it 2 or 3 times, and that'll take care of it. It may be something you have to do every year, but that's the safest thing to do.
Okay, interesting. All right. And can I do this in a day, 2 days? Of course, I always want to know how long this is going to take me. Right.
How complicated do you want to make it? I mean,
that's a no.
Now here's the thing. If you'll hire someone else to do it, you can get it done in 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sure.
While they're doing it and you're off golfing.
Yeah. No, see, I would say I have to watch you do this. So, because I want to learn so I can do it myself the next time, even though that'll never happen.
You're still a young man, Greg. You get to where you're tired of learning after a while.
That's true.
It's easier to just pay someone else.
I know everything I need to know at this point. Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to show a clip from your YouTube site on something that you did. So hang on just a second.
Okay, back at the rescue house, one of the things that we discovered is that the owner is putting in a steam shower. And one of the things that you do with a steam shower is you have to slope the ceiling. And that was never done by the previous builder. So we had to tear out the ceiling over the shower, and then we sistered up on the joist. And you can see where the joist come down a little bit low. And we put a 3/4 inch slope in it. And so now when they take a steam bath or a steam, the moisture will go on the sloped ceiling and it'll go down that wall and get out. Otherwise, if you don't do that, when you steam, it'll drip on you like a rain shower. And that can get pretty chilly, and it'll actually kind of drive you crazy. I've been in one that did that. It's not much fun. So that is another phase of this, and we're just about ready in this master bathroom to come in and start doing the finish work in here. So that'll be on upcoming video. If you're enjoying these videos, make sure and subscribe and like and comment.
You go. Okay. So see, now you lost me at the homeowners wanted to put in a steam shower. We got to slope the ceiling. Right? If someone came in and said, Greg, how good are you at sloping your ceiling? I would, that would be.
So most of the time they do that by accident.
Yeah, exactly right. That sounds like something that you did. And you had to call.
Right.
And say, oops. How do you?
But the thing is with the steam shower, Greg, you have a steam shower because you are going to have a friend in the shower with you. And what you're trying to do is make sure your friend doesn't get a cold rainstorm on them, because that kind of ruins the moment, if you know what I mean.
That would be a whole different video.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I may have saved a marriage by doing that. Who knows?
Probably did. On a serious note, all of the videos or most of the videos on your YouTube channel, you always refer to the rescue house.
Yes.
What is the rescue house?
Okay, that was a particular project I did where I was hired to go in and provide an estimate or a budget for a couple who'd been out of their house for 3 years, and because they didn't get along with the builder, and the builder had done such a horrible job that we ended up having to go through and rebuild a bunch of the house. And I decided to do a bunch of videos on it, which have or some of them are quite interesting. But we've had to go in and tear out ceilings and put in new beams, and virtually everything they did was wrong.
Right.
And so I spent probably 6 or 7 months in there correcting things. And I thought it was interesting because a lot of people decide that they want to be their own contractor, or they want to be literally do the physical part, and they don't have any idea what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular homeowner, who is a great guy, we're great friends, but he just made some fundamental mistakes. And what I call, and I've recently experienced this with one of my clients, they come in and they try and compete with me as a contractor. In other words, they'll hire me, I'm in there, going to work, and they're bringing people in to bid against me. And okay. It just creates a nightmare.
Yeah.
Nobody's happy. The contractor's not happy. Homeowner's not happy. The subs are confused. Everything just kind of gets turned on its head. And that's what this guy did. Mm-hmm. And so he ended up having truly a nightmare. He's a brilliant man. He's an engineer, but he doesn't know anything about remodeling houses.
Right.
And so he was just totally out of his element. He didn't know what to look for. He didn't know and so I go in there in one day, and of course my first reaction was, I'll give you the budget, but I'm not touching this place.
Yeah.
Me and the other 5 people that looked at it, no one wanted to touch it. And then they talked me into it. I ended up just, really becoming close with the client. They're wonderful people, and they're very patient. And we had to go through room by room, floor, ceiling, sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, air, everything was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so I always try and caution people about they think they're saving money, and they might be saving money that day, but they're not saving money in the long run. Yeah.
I mean, it really sounds like ego is what drives a lot of people. They just think, I can do this. Or like you said, you referred to HGTV. And I think the problem, with some of those shows, and not just home repair, cooking, I think all these shows is, that, the whole thing's done in an hour. Right. And all of a sudden you think, well, okay, if it only takes that long, I should be able to do this. We got a question coming in here from Beatrice. How can I clean a faked wood floor a faked wood floor the best way. I think it is Cali vinyl. I guess that's the type of the floor she has.
I think Beatrice probably has a wood look vinyl floor that she's trying to clean.
Okay.
And there's cleaners for that, of course. There's plenty of things you can buy. I particularly like just a mild vinegar and warm water solution for most floors because for whatever reason, I don't know why this is, all the products I am using make the wood look dull.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have to be careful if you do what I'm about to tell you. You have to test it out somewhere.
Okay.
Because vinegar may be the absolute wrong thing to use.
Mm.
But on a wood floor, we use them. On engineered floors, we use it. And essentially, it takes those water streaks out of it. So, Beatrice, when it's drying, you're probably seeing residue when it dries. It's probably why it looks dull. But take an area, take a bowl and put a couple of caps of vinegar in it and a rag and just try an area. And you might find that all of that streaking goes away because it evaporates out. Vinegar is a very, very good cleaner, but it's a little bit acidic.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful. You don't want to use it on things like marble or limestone, any kind of a stone product. It's not good because it'll etch it.
Tile? What about tile?
I've had great, well, the floors that I've done, which were engineered flooring, were, have a coating on them that I think might react the same way. So you might have good luck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice, give it a try and let us know how that, contact me or Greg and let us know how that works out for you. I'd like to know.
Yeah, I would too. And of course, let me throw up your, there's your email address right there. So I said I wasn't going to keep you that long, Alex, because I know, and by the way, I understand you also, in addition to remodeling, you're a fishing guide. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm a fishing guide and a producer of a show. So, I'm at that time in life, Greg, when you start, I don't want to get morbid or anything, but for lots of reasons, you think, I need to do some things that I've always wanted to do.
Sure.
I need to get out there. Like I have a really good interview friend, a guest that's on my show all the time, Remodel Revolution, that she's in her 60s and she's learning to be a mountain climber.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of get to this point in a certain age where you're like, man, I just need to do this.
I think the pandemic has done that to an awful lot of people.
I think it has.
Part of it is just I have to get out. As long as I'm outside, I might as well do something. I think that's why so many people have become talk show hosts and podcast hosts, and that's really why my TV show is full speed ahead. It's like if I don't do this now, I got to do it. Okay, one more question before I let you go. Because summer is upon us, even though we're only about less than a month into spring. Are there any particular projects that are ideal to do in the summer? That could be outside. I guess that could be inside too, though, depending on, what the climate is and so forth. Is there anything, or, just advice to homeowners like in October, I always know it's time to change my air filters, which I know how to do, by the way. All right. It takes me all day and a 6-pack, but I can get it done. But my furnace filters. But what about in the summer? Is there like a check?
There's a few things that we talk about on my show this time of year. Next week, I've got an air conditioning guy coming on, and we're going to talk about changing filters. And because your system's been running through the winter with heat, and so that the heat, all of the little particles and things that have gotten up in there, and they're all in your system, not just your filter, are now going to be infused with moisture from air conditioning because it's moist air. And so now you're kind of converting some of those dry things into live bio, whatever particles that you're going to be breathing. So it's a good idea to get all that cleaned up. Make sure you dust your house. That's where and your carpet, your carpet's your biggest air filter in your home. And so get all that stuff cleaned up. And then think about your outside projects. And one of the things you're going to run into this time of year is a lot of rain. It's that time of year we have a lot of rain.
Yep.
And during the fall and the winter, you've had a lot of leaves falling in your gutters. You've had stuff kind of piling up around the house. You want to make sure that things are draining well around your house so you don't end up with foundation problems later. You want to clean your gutters so that they flow properly and they don't flow into places that they're not supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that are super important.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Hey, the name of the email address is alex@remodelrev.com. And there is your website right there. So anybody who, was afraid to ask a question or maybe has one later, you can reach out to Alex. Alex, really appreciate you joining me. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Greg, it's always fun being with you, buddy.
Thanks,
I really do. And good luck with your show. I know you're very passionate about it.
Indeed.
And you've really put together a wonderful production.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. Have a great day, and we'll close it off here. All right, everybody. Well, that was a lot of fun. As I said, I wouldn't keep you too long, so I hope you got some great advice from Alex. And again, if you want more information about my show here, you can always follow me at my YouTube channel. That's my Instagram page right there. And if you're watching on Facebook, of course, it's facebook.com, A Comedian Crashes Your Pad. That is the site of my distributor. They distribute the show Fantastic Films, and this is where you can watch episodes, fantastic-entertainment.com. Check it out. As I said, we will be having our Savannah episode up very, very shortly. We think it's the best one yet. We shot it on St. Patrick's Day weekend. And for those of you who don't know about St. Patrick's Day weekend in Savannah, it is nuts. So it was a nice addition because we had no idea when we went down there of what we were going to run into, the people and the places and so forth. So with that, I hope everybody's having a great day. Keep laughing and keep traveling, everybody, because that's where you see all the great stuff. See you later.